I know that you are very focused on mentoring and supporting young lawyers, and you talk a lot about taking up space. What does it mean in the context of being Black and female in the legal industry?
Throughout my career, I was always told, especially in my younger years, that I was too ambitious. Stay in your lane was sort of the message that I received as a young lawyer. I was essentially told to dim my light and try to blend in. And I think that the message to women at that time was, if you want to be a leader, you can sit here, but don't expect to be at the head of the table. Even for women who have approached their peak, there was still that pit. And if you were a woman and you did the exact same thing as men in similar positions, you were unfairly seen as overly ambitious or self-serving. Once I realized that there was this sort of unfair advantage, I began to start taking risks and trying opportunities that were not traditionally held by women. I began to take up space in that I took a journey that others were either afraid to or weren't willing to take. And this is what helped my journey to accelerate. So I took on roles and opportunities that maybe I didn't check all the boxes. I became an expert in a space that was not typically the road frequently traveled. Took on roles that were scary to some. I lived and worked in Africa. I took on an emerging markets role where I had Latin America, the Middle East, India, other parts of Asia under my remit. And in those roles, I realized that my differences and taking on these different opportunities were actually my strengths. And I discovered that I had these, what some people call superpowers, because I got out of my comfort zone. And I realized that the skills and talents and gifts that I was born with were mine. I needed to make sure that I showed up with those gifts and talents every time I entered the room, because I knew restraints were always going to be there. But I knew that with those restraints, I had to take certain approaches so that I could lead effectively. And that included being an authentic leader. And when I walk into a room, ensure that I am taking up space with those gifts every opportunity that I had.